Yeah, say what you will about Modern Horizons, but it is really exciting to see this set unfold. I can't wait for my preview video to go live next week. Hey, when's your preview video go up, Vince?
Mine goes up on the 28th, but I don't know.
What is it? What's wrong?
Yeah, I got it very last minute. I don't really know why. I think they're a bit reluctant to give Pleasant Kenobi a preview card.
But you're so very pleasant. You got one last set, right?
No, I didn't get one for War of the Spark. I was left out.
Well, there's only so many cards in each set.
Well, there's actually 254 cards, Brian, so I'm sure they could have found one for me. I'm telling you, I'm grateful they gave me one for Modern. I mean, I love Modern, I love Legacy, so I'm excited for these cards, but I'm worried that I've said something at some point that might have upset someone at Wizards, you know?
Huh. So think about it. Besides coming on my channel, is there anything you've done that would upset Wizards of the Coast? Anything you might have accidentally said in a video that made them not want to have you promote their game?
It's our old friend Wasteland. He's here, and he's ready to blow up some f***ing posts. It is a 1 CMC core cleric, not a human, thank f***. This week I'm channeling real big deck energy. I'm the Magic the Gathering content creating equivalent of a night out in Glasgow. I don't even know if that's a good thing, because I don't like heroin. Like the early parts, like it's a bit of a crusty that needs a bit of lubricant, you know? No, nothing. I can't think of a single thing. When did you get your card? Did you get it a little while ago, or?
Yeah, I got all 6 of them several weeks back.
Sorry, did you say 6?
Yeah, I have 6 preview cards.
Is this a joke? Is this a bit? Are we recording a skit?
No, for real. I have 6. I mean, originally they only sent me 3, and I was like, hey, can I have 2 more? And they were like, no, you can have 3 more. So now I got 6 preview cards.
You've got to be me. What the ever-living 6 cards? 6? I'm lucky if I get 1. I got 0 for War of the Spark, Brian. 0. 0 cards. 0.
Wow, that wasn't very pleasant.
Hello ladies and gentlemen and everyone betwixt, I am Vince, also known as Pleasant Kenobi on the internet, and I'm joined by Brian of the Tolarian Community College for this week's episode of Dies to Removal. This week, we're talking everything sunny on the Modern Horizons. That pun was really bad.
That must be why they call you Pleasant, because everything is always so very sunny in Check's Notes.
It is.
England, right? Yeah,
but
everything
I guess
is
if
so
it's the horizon,
very sunny.
the sun could be setting as well, and it could be getting darker.
We're talking all things Modern Horizons this week, and I'm really excited about this set, so why don't we just get right into it? Do you want to get right into it, Pleasant?
Yeah, let's just jump into it.
Let's jump into it. What's your response to criticism that this set is not really having any impact or significance for Modern beyond a couple cards? We're hearing Commander Horizons as the recurring joke. There's awesome stuff in here for Commander, but is this a set that has failed to live up to its potential as the Modern Horizon set, or are people not seeing what's going on here?
I think Magic players are very bad at evaluating cards on the whole, right? Like, every single set we have cards that go missing. Like, Archetype Phoenix, Rabble Master, these cards that people look at, they snub their nose at it, and then later on down the line, in a month's time, they go to you, oh yeah, I bought loads of those. I bought like 6 playsets of 50p because I evaluated it correctly, right? So everyone is just misevaluating everything left, right, and centre. It might turn out that the White Force is really, really good. It probably isn't, let's be honest. And we do it as well in our previews for like... And we're not exempt from this. In our previews for the last set, for War of the Spark, we probably got... people can go back and check. We probably got some things wrong, right? So I think people are evaluating the set really badly. And also people are expecting, like, huge shake-ups. People are expecting, like huge power spikes. Not really. There's loads of unique, interesting effects that can create new decks, so...
All right. Well, with that being said, let's talk about your evaluations. So, I mean, let's start with Modern. We're going to talk about Commander. We're going to talk about Legacy, but I want to just focus on Modern. What is some of the cards that you're seeing with some major Modern relevance here in this set? I know the first one that you like. I know the first one that you like. It's your Mother of Runes alternate, right?
I think Giver of Runes is really good. And again, just speaking about just modern, like, we know she's worse than Mother of Runes, but that doesn't matter. Like, it's Mother of Runes in modern.
Is that enough for your precious Death and Taxes?
I think it is. I think it is a lightning rod. So if we're going to talk about Death and Taxes for a moment, I was trying not to, like, hone too much in on that. But
no, but that's your thing. Listen, if this set had a single merfolk in it, I'd be talking about it. It doesn't. So I'm up a certain creek, but you got your
no. There's got to be a singular merfolk, right? I think, hang on, there's a single black unblockable merfolk. There is the 5-mana green
Vince. Leave me alone.
With reach.
There's no merfolk for merfolk.
There's going to be, though, right? I guarantee there'll be a merfolk with false responses.
We have 1 day left. We have 2 days left. No way.
When's your spoiler go up?
I have no merfolk in my spoiler. I'm not. Everybody thinks I'm going to be spoiling some giant merfolk created for modern card. I'm not.
Fun fact, my community, my Discord,
commons. Yeah.
They all believed that I was going to spoil whatever the fixed Stoneforge was, or the new Containment Priest, or any of the Death and Taxes cards, or even like a card that's just loosely tangentially related to me.
They'd have to know who you are. They'd have to know who you are.
I was just given some draft comments and told to go away.
Tell me about Daughter of Runes. Tell me about Daughter of Runes.
So Daughter of Runes, Auntie of Runes, Stepmother of Runes. So she isn't strictly better or strictly worse than Mother of Runes, because Mother of Runes traditionally in her role in Legacy is that she can block anything and tap to give herself protection. The new one can't give her self-protection, so she's not a very good blocker. However, she is an X2, she's got 2 in the back end, so she's got a bigger booty than Mother of Runes has. It means she doesn't die to Engineered Plague, or the new Engineered Plague that's stuck to her body in the new set. It means like things like Dread of Night, for example, in older formats don't kill her as well. Zealous Persecution, that sort of stuff. So she's already good against these things that are traditionally very good against the white decks that play loads of X1s anyway. And then on top of that, she protects your creatures from lands. So, for example, again, that's more of a Legacy thing. She also protects your creatures from artifacts, which is more of a modern thing, things like Walking Ballista and such. So she has applications that are better than the older format version of her, and she's not quite as good. So I think that's good design. I think it's good design that we're not getting strictly worse or strictly better. We're getting different.
So this is something that Death and Taxes was missing. This is something that Death and Taxes in Modern was missing.
She is a lightning rod that protects basically an Arbiter or Thalia. There are 2 cards that allow the deck to function in any shape, form, capacity, in any way in Modern. And being able to protect them with a lightning rod that takes away the removal from them means you can go turn 1 Stepmother of Runes, play your Arbiter, and now they can't necessarily bolt your Arbiter immediately in response to your Ghost Quarter or to save their fetch land. They've got to bolt it and then try and fetch. It makes the whole thing more awkward. The whole point of Death and Taxes is to make your opponent's life as awkward as possible, and then you capitalise on these small tempo gains. So yeah, I think she's generally good enough.
Where was Death and Taxes before Giver of Runes, and is this so one of the things with Modern Horizons is the idea of creating cards like Giver of Runes is supposed to suddenly take a deck like Death and Taxes that obviously I think they want to be more powerful in Modern to add diversity to the decks that are there, to have it show up in top 8s at GPs and such. Where was Death and Taxes before, and where do you think it's going to be after? Is this enough? That's my question. Is this enough?
Probably not, to be honest with you. Like, I don't, as much as I am excited for how Modern will look for a little while, we'll probably have like a month of uncertainty and stuff. I don't think Modern's going to get any better, as it were. I think Modern's still going to have the same issues of being too fast, too much of a drag race. D&T, especially the green-white version, often called Hate Bears, although they're slightly different, but that's a whole semantics argument that's too in-depth for here. That was putting up results at one point or another. There were a couple of European players that put up results by top 8ing, or I think 2 wins at GPs as well. Craig Wesco top 8 at GP about maybe 18 months ago.
Okay.
But then, no, maybe it's more like 2 years ago. I don't know exactly.
Doesn't matter.
But then it just fell off the cliff. Like, it just stopped showing up in top 8. It just stopped showing up anywhere. I can't remember the last time I started a video by mentioning a top 8 list of my favourite deck when I'm playing it. So it just isn't good enough to fight the current Modern metagame because, and this is the reason, it used to be very good at fighting degenerate stuff like Storm, for example, because you've got your Search Hate and your Thalias. But a lot of the current decks don't care about those cards. Like, you've got creature-based combo that absolutely poo-poos all over it. And I think some of the creature-based combo decks, things like Vizier combo, are getting loads of new toys in the new set. So your Thalias aren't going to do anything as they combo kill you with Walking Ballistas and Viziers and stuff.
Well, that's a grim portent of things to come. I think that one of the things that I do like about Modern Horizons, I'm going to try and talk about a positive that I see for Modern potentially is.
Well, why do you say that? Do you not think that it? How do you feel?
What we wanted. Okay, so just. Being honest here, I am a part of the crowd that's looking at this set, and yeah, we've already heard this by now. Well, the set's really Time Spiral 2. They just marketed it as Modern Horizons, like that's supposed to excuse it. But it's like, this is what was marketed to me, and it was marketed to me as, now we can finally approach the modern format by designing cards for it and reprinting cards into it without them having to pass through standard, and so we can essentially tune up. And I'm going to use the word fix Modern. You mentioned a minute ago, oh, well, decks that I like and enjoy, it feels like forever since any of them have even top 8'd, and I feel the same way. Modern was my favorite format, and I fell off of it hard because these decks took over, and fair decks lost out big time, which are the type of decks that I like. And Modern Horizons was supposed to be, we're going to be able to fix that because we could never reprint these cards into standard. We could never design these cards for standard, but they're the cards that Modern needs. This is as it was billed to us anyway. And then we got a lot of awesome cat and bear tribal. Vince, is Modern Bears going to be a legitimate deck? Is Modern Cats going to be a legitimate deck? I don't think so.
Bears maybe. That loam, aggro loam variant thing, the green thing that ditches to make bears, that seems good in a loam deck. But yeah, the Bear Lord, no, and that sort of stuff.
So that's the thing, and this is why people are disappointed.
It's the marketing, right? It's the marketing that's the issue, not necessarily the set itself.
But does that forgive it? A lot of people are like saying, so that forgives it. They should have just called it Time Spiral 2. And it's just like, well, but they didn't, because then people wouldn't be as excited. But now people are seeing what's in it, and they're getting less excited. Maybe that's what I feel the problem is. And I feel it is reasonable for us as players. Like, I don't like having to have the responsibility on my back as a customer of having to make corporate considerations and be like, oh, well, they had to market it this way. And it's like, screw you. This is $8 a pack, and you told me this was made to fix Modern.
I agree. The cost of the packs is definitely an issue. Like, I don't agree that if we're going to try and fix
There's not even a foil in every one, but it's still $8 a pack.
What? Sorry, what? There's not a foil in every pack?
I don't believe so. There's a Snowland in every pack. There's a nice
I didn't know that.
A nice erect Snowland in every pack, standing tall. But there is not a foil in every pack.
There's an art card in every pack, isn't there?
There's a hard card.
That's really okay. So the cost of packs was an issue for me.
Right.
We should talk about this now really quickly. It did bug me. I think
but I want to offer my positivity before we get into this.
Go on. I'll be positive first, then we'll talk about the price of cards.
I think that the snow permanence and the snow mechanics that they have brought into this set have the ability to change Modern in a noticeable way. And here's why. Because there is now a lot of cards that incentivize you for either your own deck's reasons or defense against your opponent's deck's reasons to basically be running a lot of snow basics, which you can now do and do much more affordably, I'm going to assume. And that is going to affect Modern. And a card that came out today is Dead of Winter, which is 2 generic mana and 1 black. It's a sorcery, and it reads, all non-snow creatures get -X until end of turn, where X is the number of snow permanents you control. I don't know that I feel that this specific card is necessarily going into a deck, but I want to point out what it does, is that if let's just say you're in a deck where all you're running are snow basics by itself with no other snow permanents, as the game progresses, you've essentially got a card that says all creatures get -X until end of turn, where X is the number of lands you control. And I'd say that's very powerful, and that can be created just by running snow basics. And I think that there's a lot of cards like this where they are taking into account your snow permanents, and they're going to incentivize people to run snow basics and other snow permanents, and then we're going to see that maybe shape into a brand new deck.
I don't know if there's enough support for it is an issue. Like, up until this card was shown today, I don't know if there's enough powerful snow cards, but that card is very, very powerful. It's basically Mutilate, right? The old -X equal to swamped. But they're to both players as well.
But you can run it in only a black splash deck because maybe you've got red, blue, and
well,
black.
I was thinking black, red, Scred, right? The only Snowlink that exists in current formats is Scred, so you just start playing a light black splash because don't forget you don't even have to have the black command doesn't have to come off of your Snowlands. You can have all Snow Mountains and 3 Bloodstained Mires and 3 4 black red fetches, and there you go. You've got a black splash. But that and the one that Merchant spawned, the snake, the flying 1/1 snake that draws you a card, has flash, and then sometimes also has death touch. Like that card is pushed. Yeah. Really pushed. But the problem is the enablers aren't there. We've got loads of Snowlands coming into the market, so they're not going to be costing lots, but there's no Snow Jewels. There's no Snow
the fall set might be all signs point to the fall set being
that was going to be my suggestion.
Right.
Exactly. So we get Kaldheim or whatever it's called. Is it Kaldheim?
Kaldheim, I believe.
Kaldheim, yeah. So that'd be really cool if this is nodding forward a little bit. So do you not think the illusion? I'm looking over at the Mythic Spoil now. It just makes me happy to see some of this stuff, like Omizawa's Charm, for example, or like an Urza card and a Yawgmoth card, or like the Black Slinglang Lieutenant, or like Snow Monstrosity. Are these things not making you warm and fuzzy inside for yesteryear, like nostalgia plus cool new stuff? Are you not into it?
I'm into the flavor of it, but then when I look at, Urza, obviously, we'll talk about, like I said, I wanted to talk about Commander. Okay, so Urza. Is Urza going to see play in Modern?
Yes.
Yes. Where is Urza going to see play and how?
So this is one of the things I want to talk about when we come to Urza. I think Urza could even create, either he can revamp old things like KCI, for example, those style decks, just playing out eggs and tapping them. Yeah, exactly.
Just what I want is eggs coming back.
Or he can provoke or create new archetypes because his effects are so weird and also very powerful. So, yeah, I think you'll see play more. Right. I think he might have the potential to turn vintage into a vintage shops into a blue deck where you're tapping all your lock pieces.
I'm sticking on Modern, though. Modern.
Sure. I'm just pointing out how powerful he is.
Okay, Yawgmoth, Thran Physician. Is this going to see Modern play?
Probably not. But I mean, if there's an Aristocrats deck in the future.
Oh, the famed. If you go back through my picks for Modern, it's always if only we had Aristocrats. If only we had Aristocrats. Umezawa's Charm,
off, right?
Umezawa's Charm. Oh, we're always only a few cards off. Umezawa's Charm. Is this going to see Modern play?
No.
The first Sliver. Is this going to see Modern play?
Maybe. If there's a Slivers deck, they might have one. But then again, actually, it's probably worse than the 5-mana indestructible Hive Mind guy.
But Modern Slivers has already been a thing, and it didn't run the 5-color Slivers. That's too much for Modern.
I thought they had the. I could be wrong. I thought they had Hive Lord because it's just
not in Modern Slivers. Not in Modern Slivers. Modern Slivers is usually 2 to 3 color, depending on the build.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is my point. This is why I feel a damper on this. So you're saying Urza will maybe enable one of the most degenerate, miserable decks in Modern to play against that they finally banned a card out of to get rid of, and maybe will come back. And then you go into these other ones and you say, not really. Okay, Goblin Engineer, is this going to see play?
Quite possibly, yeah. That seems like a very good enabler for the Sword Foundry. It can go get a Trinisphere early as well. Like, it's got multiple applications that are interesting. Kess could be good enough.
That's one I'm so excited about. Kess is one that Kess makes me super excited, but she's just a reprint. But there you go. I guess I just love reprints.
Kess might be too slow. As much as I want Grixis to be good, I want there to be a Grixis mid-range deck that is good with Kess. She might be too slow in a world of like 12 power on turns 1 through 3, you know?
Maybe. But I'm very excited. She excites me. She really excites me for Modern in terms of what it's bringing in. It's something so interesting and different in terms of a reprint into Modern. I mean, she was designed for Commander. People were playing her in Legacy, or they were until they were told they couldn't run foil copies of her. So in many ways, they reprinted her just to provide a non-foil copy. But I think it's a very exciting card.
Huge place in some of the Highlander formats as well, like Canadian and Australian.
Right.
Like, she's having non-foils of her is quite a big thing.
I like having her in Modern as potential. But this is what people's complaint is. This is what we're touching on in terms of people's complaint, is that this set has very little relevance to Modern. We're being charged as much as a master set, but we're not getting anything for Modern. What are we getting for Modern? Tell me some more things we're getting for Modern before
Altar of Dementia.
There you go. That was on I have that right here. All right, let's talk Altar of Dementia. I'm so excited about this. Go.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Let's do it. So what are you seeing?
I think the card was expensive before this, right? I'm very bad with prices, but the card was getting up there, especially foils, right?
It was over, very expensive. The last reprint was in Conspiracy, I believe, and I think it was over $10 a pop because,
So the card is going to hopefully, at least initially, drop in price. And it enables so many weird things again. So you can self-mill yourself to throw Lords of Extinction at people. You can self-mill yourself for Labmans and Jaces. That's self-mill. You can obviously mill other players as well.
I'm going to be milling other players, baby. I'm going to be milling. This is going to create a deck I have wanted in Modern longer and with more passion than Aristocrats, and that is a powerful, viable blue-black mill. And Altar of Dementia is the missing piece that we never thought we needed.
The first thing I thought when I saw it was that Heartless Summoning, the one that reduces cost by 2, and then Consumer Aberration, that commander, the first card you stick in your commander deck. It's not very good in Modern. But he's now a 4-mana creature that whenever you cast a spell, you mill your opponent to the next land, and it gets bigger and bigger as graveyards get bigger and bigger, and they can attack them, and then you can just sack him to All of Dementia to mill them for 30 or whatever.
I was thinking similar.
Exactly. So there you go. This card opens up new archetypes, and then we've got weird stuff like Mox Tantalite's probably just a bad card, but so was Lion's Eye Diamond when it was first printed, right?
Wait. Now you're getting again. I want to talk about good cards. I want to talk about good cards right now, and so you're. This is what's bothering me. Is I think that you're hyped about Mox Tantalite because it's called Mox, and if I'm not
hyped about this card at all. I think it's really bad.
Well, then why are you bringing it up in the section that's supposed to be good cards, Vince? This is the problem.
What's the problem? New and interesting design space.
You just said the card is bad. You said the card is really bad.
Okay, another suspend card in the set that is good is the one that makes 2 4/4 rhinos. Crashing Footfalls. So as foretold, what was the other deck? Living End decks, if they really want to just have 4/4s they can make really quickly to block the enemy hollow ones and stuff. But mainly as foretold, just make 2 4/4s with trample and just start smashing their heads in with it. There's weird cards in here. We've got Goblin Matron that will make the Goblin deck potentially more viable as a mid-range deck. I think Goblin Matron will see no play in the aggro version of the deck, right? There's no reason to play a 3-mana 1/1. So I do think there's room there for the mid-range version. I've tried to play Collected Company in Goblins before, and I'll probably be trying it again. Because companying into 2 Matrons, then go find Kiki and something else, just seems like hot value. Probably not good enough for Modern because it's too fast.
Well, there you go. Probably, so that's the motto of Modern Horizons, is probably not good enough for Modern.
But that's almost not Modern Horizons' fault. That's kind of because I think Modern's slightly mismanaged in a way.
But this was supposed to be them managing Modern. That's what this was supposed to be.
So it's just a lie.
It's just another lie. That's what really pisses me off, is I'm sick of being lied to about this stuff.
I think not enough teams talk to each other. I think they need to do something about Modern. Modern is, and this was it. This was meant to be the thing about Modern. They did, right?
Right. That's no. Now they're saying it was never meant to be that. Now they're saying, hey, by the way, this was never designed to do what we said it was going to do. This was never thought of or implemented. All it was supposed to be was a fun Time Spiral 2 set that we then took, are charging double for, and decided let's print it directly into Modern, and we'll say that was what the point was. And then everyone, when they get disappointed, will say, hey, well, it was actually meant to be Time Spiral 2 Why is it double a pack? And why do they think that marketing
they had enough foresight to have an excuse against the criticisms, but not enough foresight to make the mission statement successful.
All right. I got one for Modern though. I love that I'm the guy here. I'm sounding like the bitter, crusty old man, but I'm the one who's looking through this list, unlike you, Vince. And I'm the one looking through this list, and I'm trying to pull out the Modern relevant cards as opposed to pulling out cards and saying, I love this card, it'll never see play in Modern. I'm actually trying to pull out Modern relevant cards here.
Just to defend myself, I'm saying these cards can see play and probably will see play. People like myself will play them. I just don't think they're going to top 8 a GP.
No, okay.
guys that they run a table, get a deck tech, and then lose the next 5 rounds. That's those cards, okay?
I got one for you. Here we go. Another, modern deck everyone loves. It's it's the sort of thing everyone wishes was viable. They want to build it. In fact, and we've got Scale Up.
Everyone loves Infect, but I agree. Scale Up is fantastic.
Yeah, everyone does love Infect. People always want to build Infect. They don't admit to it, but they do. You want Infect. So
this is a card that I think is going to do what Modern does. Right. It's going to help speed up an existing deck, which is not what I think this set should be doing. This set should be printing toys that help to slow down other decks and give a safety valve, which is what Force and Negation does, which should come to the moment. But Scale Up is very good. And it needs to be able to die on turn 3.
With the London Mulligan, people might be dying on turn 2.
Well, yeah, turn 2. Like that plus 2 mutagenic growths, or that plus mutagenic growth.
Yeah, turn 1
Glistener
Elf.
Is crunched out? We don't know yet. I don't think.
I believe so, but like we don't need it. Like with Scale Up, there are conceivable turn 2 wins with this, and in fact, period. And I don't like turn 2 wins, but at least it's doing what the damn box says it's supposed to do, which is making a card too powerful for Standard that will have modern relevance.
I see, but a card like that wouldn't even be that good in Modern.
Talk to me about Pact. All right, you said Pact of Negation is doing what you want it to do. Tell me why. Why Pact of Negation?
So the reason that things like Legacy have these very exciting and interesting interactive games of Magic is that they have the toys and the tools to create interactive games of Magic. And Modern has a few of those. It has things like Thoughtseize and stuff like that to interact with people's hands and slow the game down and rip apart combo, right? But the thing that Legacy has over those cards is Force of Will. Force of Will is a blue counterspell that everyone probably knows by now, but it has an alternative casting cost. It's a 5 mana spell, but alternative casting cost of lose a life, exile another blue card from your hand, and you can cast it for free and you can counter a spell. Now, they haven't gave us Force of Will in Modern, which is what a lot of people wanted, myself included. I wanted to take risks with this set. I think that's one of the things I would criticise it with. There doesn't seem to be enough risks in this set. But Force of Negation is an interesting, like I said before, it's not strictly worse than, for the most part. It almost is, but it's not strictly better either. So it's a 3 mana counter spell. It's a negate. It counters target non-creature spell. But the alternative casting cost is exile a blue card from your hand if it's not your turn and cast it for free. So what this card is incentivizing is it's incentivizing you to be able to interact with your opponent's combos. So like you said, the turn 2 kill, where they cast Scale Up,
right? You
go ahead and force negation either the Scale Up, or the Groundswell, or the Mutagenic Growth, or whatever, and you stop them.
And if their deck was relying on that, and without that they're just going to be treading dead water, then that punishes them for building a deck where it's like, I either get this to succeed or I lose, and then...
Exactly.
Right. Which encourages better deck building, deck building on their part.
Exactly. The reason that decks like Charbelcher, which are turn 1 kill decks in Legacy, don't do well is because Force of Will stops them. And Force Negation has that potential as well. The other good thing about Force Negation in terms of design is that the fear with Force of Will is that decks like Infect, for example, would be able to protect their combo with a Force of Will, because in Legacy that's what happens. You go to kill them or stop or counter their Groundswell or their Scale Up, and they daze or force you back, and you get this back and forth. Okay, Force Negation kind of avoids that. Force Negation weirdly makes the Infect matchups play out weirdly, because normally you want to not cast removal spells during combat, because if they end up surviving, their creature's pumped, you cast it in their end step or on your turn. Force Negation says do not cast your removal spells in your turn on their creatures, because if they are blue-green Infect, they could Force Negate your thing. So yeah, I think Force Negation is cool design. I think it's good design. I think it will have an impact. How much, we don't know yet. But Blue-White Control is a very good deck in Modern, according to Wizards themselves. They claim the format is okay. No one cares about 12 power on turn 3, because Blue-White Control occasionally wins some games, you know?
Do you think that Force of Will should have been reprinted in this set, just straight up? And why wasn't it?
There's two points real quick. So firstly, the height would have been bigger, right? Like, people would have been more like, oh my god, it's Force of Will. But also there's that problem that they might have enabled combo too much. And secondly, the card could have ended up being very expensive. Like, the amount of copies of Force of Will in the wild isn't huge, because it's only been printed in an old set, and then like Judge Foils, and then we got like a premium set, right? And again, we've got another premium set. We've got another £8 a pack set again with Force of Wills in them. So actually, the Force of Will issue might have been that the card was just cost like $70.
Yeah, but so reprinted at rare, dum-dums. Like, come on.
Yes. Well, look at Force Negation. No, Force Negation is a rare.
Thank God.
So they are at least slightly cognizant of this. But, I mean, I guess it comes back to the pack issue again. Like, do you think that there should be premium packs?
No.
I guess that's a good question.
No,
right? So
I'm staunchly against premium packs, at least in the way that they have been handled so far. The closest to premium packs that I would consider acceptable is Ultimate Masters, except then they raised it even more. Ultimate Masters, I wanted, if they had done Ultimate Masters, I said this at the time, if they had done Ultimate Masters exactly as they had done like Iconic Masters in terms of pricing and distribution and all of that, I would have probably been satiated. And I would have said, all right, here's how you do it. But for the most part, I just don't believe that the secondary market should be, I do believe it should be protected. I just don't think it should be protected as much as they do. I think that cards should have value. I just don't think cards should have as much value as they do, because I think it should be about a game first and a collection second. And I do see the importance of that collection, but for God's sakes, print Cavern of Souls at rare, not mythic, when it's this expensive. And we are going to see some price spikes as a result of this.
We already have. Have you seen some of the hikes? Like, I mean, we've already got an issue at the moment where Microsoft Lattice is spiking through the roof because they just put in some obnoxiously powerful cards in War of the Spark, and now we've got Auntie's Hovel, a red-black land from a set from 15 years ago, spiking. Right. How are they going to fix that? They probably won't.
They won't, because there's nowhere for reprints. There's nowhere for reprints because they've discontinued Masters sets.
But you sat in a room with Gary Verhey, right? You sat there and interviewed him in the office that you're in now, and he said, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he said that they're managing reprints better. They've got plans for this.
Yeah, he said a lot of things. He also said he said a lot of things. He was a great politician. He was a great politician. And like he even said to me, I asked directly, I have a clip of this in one of my videos, I directly asked, made just for Modern set. I said, what about like in the way we have a Commander precon and those cards are legal in Commander but not Standard? I directly asked him, what about a set where cards were made just for Modern? And he made it sound like he said that'll never happen, but the exact language he used, it didn't, like he used, I don't have the exact quote, but he used something along the lines of, that would not be an easy thing to do, and if we did do something like that, it would be very, very risky, so I wouldn't expect something, like he used this kind of politician.
Things,
risk, and that's why we ended up without Force of Will. Anything else?
But I think Force of Negation is a very good compromise, as is Giver of Runes is a very good compromise for these cards that could be a risk. I mean, like I said, it would have been nice if they took some risks, because they can always ban things later, but then I'm an advocate of that, but people, I don't know how you feel about this, criticise me for that, because obviously people buy into decks. If people buy into the Karn decks in Modern Legacy right now, and they ban Magnificent Lattice, do you feel that that's a...
I feel that it's something to be aware of. One of the biggest hits Modern took, in my opinion, is when they banned Splinter Twin. That was one of the worst blows to the format, because a lot of people lost their deck, and regardless of the ease of selling and rebuilding into Grixis Delver, which didn't end up being that much of a thing. Anyway, I think you just lost a lot of players. There was a lot of feel-bads. I think that you have to be careful about ruining someone's deck through a ban, and only do it if you absolutely positively have to.
Yeah, so maybe I'm not as risk-averse as perhaps Wizards are, and maybe that they should be. For that very reason. Right. To keep consumer confidence and not upset players, I guess.
I think that's important. So you mentioned Legacy. What effect is Modern Horizons going to have on Legacy? You're a much bigger Legacy player than I am. You dabble in Vintage occasionally. What do you see going on there?
There are some cards in here that are obviously... They're going to be good in Modern as well, so some cards that we can talk about in both ways. Like, the big one for me is Collector Oof. It's a green 2/2 Oof that says activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. It's a Null Rod or Stony Silence on a 2/2 body. Now, that means, again, it's not strictly better or strictly worse, because it can die to to lightning bolt or to a walking ballista. Well, actually it can't because it'll turn the walking ballista off. But any removal spell, right? But it can be green Sun Zenith 4. It can be Cocoed into. It can be natural into. So I think this card again is going to hit Vintage and Legacy pretty hard. Like, I'm very excited to play with that card, like Maverick, for example.
Are you pronouncing that correctly? Oof, because I isn't this an Opie?
No,
this is an oof.
No, oof.
Oof! I did it again.
I don't know. I don't know what the like real world parallel of the real world.
Opie.
I don't know. You're the English professor. You can make the.
Well, I majored in creative writing, not pronunciation. So, but
yeah, I mean,
anyway.
I'm in English literature and American literature, not again etymology or language. So.
Oof! I did it again. Anyway, so this is definitely one that you think is going to have a home in Legacy.
Yes, 100%. And then the new Mother of Runes. So here's a good example of what I was talking about earlier with the compromise. The new Mother of Runes, the Stepmother of Runes, it protects your creatures from lands, right? So if you're playing Death and Taxes, where you're from colourless sources, which includes lands. So Death and Taxes, that's not much for use. It protects against Barbarian, Ring, and some other weird corner cases, right? In Maverick, where you can play cards that allow you to search up the Dark Depths combo. For those of you who don't know, you search up Dark Depths and Thespian Stage, and it allows you to make a 20/20 Marit Lage, which can just win you games out of nowhere. It's a good way of being a Delver deck that's clocking you down, okay? Now, traditionally, one of the ways that you lose your 20/20 is people will crop rotate or Knight of the Reliquary into, like, Caracas, and they'll bounce your 20/20 because it's legendary, and you just put all this effort into making a 20/20, and you're now dead on board. This new Mother of Runes protects your Marit Lage from Caracas, for example. So that, again, means that Maverick now might run a split of those cards. So that's what I was talking about earlier, whether there's a compromise. The card isn't strictly better or strictly worse, but the differences make a difference in certain decks, which I think is exciting. But that seems more impactful in Legacy than it does Modern, weirdly.
Interesting. What about Astral Drift? This was a card people... Yeah, so this is a card everybody was guessing, I guessed, and I was not the only one, guessing that Astral Slide was going to be reprinted in this, and instead we got the Compromise card. What's the difference between Astral Slide and Astral Drift? And what are we going to see getting built with this?
Do you know how many copies of Astral Slide I actually own?
How many?
Do you know?
No.
I own about 90. 90 copies of Astral Slide.
Oh, you filthy MTG Finance spec person.
Yeah, exactly.
You filthy MTG Financer.
Yeah, I'm there. I saw the cycling coming in out in Kent. I was like, you know what? I hope there's an Astral Slide deck in Legacy, or they print it to standard, and I have all these old border copies. I bought out all the copies I could. They're like 10p or whatever each, and now I have a load of them. To the point that at an F&M, I was playing Tireless Tracker in Modern and making loads of clues, and I was using Astral Slides as clue tokens, with the permission of my opponent. Anyway, so Astral Drift is Astral Slide, but with the ability to flicker once off its own cycling. I think, again, I'm going to try and play it. I want to flicker my Eternal Witnesses.
Yeah.
But again, it's that problem where I don't know if it's going to be good enough or fast enough for Modern. And I guess giving Legacy 8 copies of it might make it... Again, I'm the kind of person who plays this stuff.
Right.
But I don't know if we're going to see it put up any tournament results. That's the same with things like Bazaar Trade Mage and other like versions of older cards that had their day in the sun. They're cool and unique, but and I'll play with them, but will they ever put up a result?
Yes.
Probably not.
And I think the same... I think the same goes for a card like the Fixed Ponder, which I think they were very cautious on. Pondering
I think they might have overcosted that by about... Well, I mean, that's a draft common, right? But I think they overcosted it by about 3 mana, perhaps?
Yeah,
to make it completely unplayable.
Ponder, yeah, completely unplayable. This is like I did a skit once with the joke where designing Magic cards, and I played a character who was so nervous about breaking the set that he tried to make everything cost 7. Just, and this comes close to it. This is just like you're right. Like this should have been 2 blue mana maybe, and then like a weaker body. Perhaps like but there you go. This is them being very nervous about Ponder, and it's just also them falling into, like you said, this is draft, and so here we go, draft. Yeah. Whoop-de-doo. I'm going to spend $8 a pack to draft, so there we go. So
that's the problem. So I'm excited to draft this. I remember we talked about this much before, a little bit before, how excited I was for Ultimate Masters to draft it, and you sort of like just laughed at me, like who's going to get to really draft it that much? Because it's on Modo, not on Arena, right? And they're suddenly switching gears to be like,
let's not start that. Thank you.
But my point is, they are switching gears a little bit to try and be like, guys, don't forget Modo exists, where you can spend your money to phantom draft this. Because I'll be phantom drafting it as well. I won't be drafting it like for the actual cards because that's just way too expensive. But yeah, people won't be doing that because it's just so expensive. It's just a shame because they put all this effort into making some of the best limited environments of all time in like Modern Masters 1, Ultimate Masters and this, and then no one can play it.
Yeah, there you go. And
okay, I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about the new swords? They're finally doing friendly coloured. Is it friendly coloured this time? Yeah, friendly coloured swords. How do you feel about this?
I don't like it.
Woo!
I don't like it. I don't like the black for the same reason. Now this is really going to make everybody hate me, but I don't like it for the same reason as I don't like the black morphling. I don't like the talismans. I don't feel that every cycle needs to be completed in every permutation, and here's why. I feel that when you start completing every cycle, so that you've got now a talisman for every color combination, a sword for every color combination, what you are doing is you are actually creating a kind of subtle homogeny where colors matter less and decks become the same. And I can be in a red-white deck and I've got swords, and I can be in a blue-green deck and I've got swords, and I've got talismans, and I like that there are colors that have access to certain things that other colors don't, or colors that I can have protection from that other colors I can't protect myself from. And when we create a version of everything, when we create a version of everything in everything, then we start seeing decks that look alike, that the colors that you run matter less. I like colors that I run and I'm up against to matter, and this creates a washing out effect, and this set is doing that quite a bit though.
Yes, it is. We've now got the canopy lands as well. So Horizon Canopy used to be a unique effect in green-white, which was kind of like green and white both interact with lands a little bit. There's part of their colour pie, and here's a land that allows you to draw cards. It was part of a cycle from Future Sight, I want to say. Yeah, Future Sight, where they had a land from different cycles from the future that all created their own like sort of super cycle.
Right.
And the thing is, the green-white land drawing a card was unique because green-white both don't necessarily draw cards at the lower end of the CMC spectrum, right?
It was nice. Now we got it. Now we got it. Notice we didn't get a Horizon, but we didn't get the Horizon Canopy, which is $1 million, didn't get reprinted.
No, because that cycle's ready for Modern Horizons 2. Right?
Oh, right.
And the thing is, like, blue-white shouldn't get one, in my opinion.
But it will.
It will.
And there you go. And that is my problem, is it was a special card because of that uniqueness. And sure, you should say, well, would you only have had, like, a dual land in one color? Well, we've got a lot of options. And the truth is that I like there being special cards. And this now makes it not so special. And it's going to affect decks that capitalized on it as the special uniqueness, and it's like, well, now we don't have to try and make green-white work to get that Horizon Canopy thing. Maybe we can do a green-red, whatever, or a white-blue, and you're right. Blue does not need it. It's going, does not need it. Blue is going to be vicious with it, and it's going to get it, and I don't like that. So in answer to your question, when I saw them doing the swords, and I love how all the swords are all done by the same artist, and they all look alike, so that if you just saw the art for them and mixed them up, you couldn't tell one from the other. So it's a perfect representation of what's wrong here. It's a perfect representation of everything that's going wrong in this idea of homogeny. It all looks the same. There's no distinct artwork, and the cards themselves are becoming less distinct. And I'm just sick of it. Okay. I'm just sick of it.
I agree when it comes to talismans. I agree when it comes to signets and cubes, for example, destroying green's card identity because everyone could ramp. And I agree with those lands. The swords are where I kind of disagree, because I don't know if we ever needed allied swords, but I guess I'm such a huge fan of the old sword cycle. Like, they're so powerful and iconic and exciting to use, and they're fun to play with, and they're commander staples. I think it's good to complete the cycle. My issue in this set is I don't think the on-hit effects are very good, to the point that they're kind of boring.
Well, it's almost like they're being overly cautious because they don't want to have any really strong, powerful, long-lasting effect on a format like Modern. So,
but those swords are never going to see play in Modern, because one, Stoneforge Mystic is considered to be too good, apparently, in this Modern format, and two, because of that, you're never going to be able to cast, resolve it, stick it on a creature and attack without the creature dying. So really, the only piece of effects is Legacy, and the blue-white protections are really good in Legacy, but like proliferate in your Stoneblade deck. Like they've stuck it's a commander card. Basically, that blue-white sword is the first sword I've seen where I'm like, that is a commander sword. And to an extent, same with the red-black one, because in any format where you're trying to fight a red-black deck, Colligan's command exists, and your sword's not going to stick around. But in Commander, you can attack someone, hit them, and then blow up someone else's Vidalcan Orrery. So those are both the most commandery printed swords so far. So I love that they're completing it. I love the art. I really do. But it's a shame that the on-hit effects are so... well, boring in my opinion.
Yeah, and there you go. And that's ultimately, I mean, so aside from what I now want to talk about, which is Commander that you transitioned to, that's how I feel this is for Modern and Legacy, is there's some fun stuff in here, but I do not see this as being worth $8 a pack. I don't see why it's $8 a pack, and I don't see that Modern or Legacy is going to look that different after this set is made legal in those formats. And
before we do move on, one of my favorite ones is that. So Diabolic Edict was obviously in this set, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to give Modern an Edict. Right. It's something that they haven't really had at instant speed." And then somewhere along the design spectrum of the last 4 years or whatever they work in, Liliana's Triumph happened, which is basically for almost every possible circumstance strictly better.
Right.
And then Edict gets printed. Because if that Edict was printed before War of the Spark, people would have been like, is this going to be good? Is it not going to be? There'll be a lot of discussion.
Right.
Now everyone's like, meh.
Yeah,
meh.
exactly. It should have been
really
Shainer's. It should have been, why didn't they
Spark...
reprint Shainer's Edict?
Yeah.
Shainer's Edict.
That at least would have been more unique in that.
And it would have helped Pauper, because Pauper could use a reprint of Shainer's Edict, because that was made common in Vintage Masters.
No Oubliette either. No Oubliette yet.
No, I don't believe we're seeing Oubliette in this set. So there you go. There you go. Commander is definitely where we have the most exciting things for Commander in this set. I want to say that I don't think there's a single Commander deck of multiple colors that isn't going to want to run Prismatic Vista. Prismatic Vista.
Let's
if you're in two or more colors, there's in Commander, there's no reason not to run a Prismatic Vista.
Why do you think? Okay, I've got to read. I already know why, but I'm going to ask you. Why do you think, Brian, they're putting Prismatic Vista here and not in a Commander Precon? Do you think it might be to get people to buy packs?
Yeah, I think it's to get people to buy packs. I don't know.
It's one of the chase threads, right? Everyone wants them. Everyone will want these for Commander.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. Everybody wants the most, currently the most expensive card in the set, and that kind of equals the most wanted card in the set, is Urza. And Urza, I don't think everybody wants for Modern. Everybody wants Urza for Commander. How long before Urza gets banned in Commander, would you say? Do we got a month, 2 months, 3 months? How long before Urza is banned in Commander? How long was Leovold legal for? That's what I want to know. We've got a better rules committee, more dynamic, more proactive rules committee now. Urza is
I don't think he's quite on the level of like obnoxious unfun that Leovold was.
Oh, okay.
But he is just gonna murder people though. That's the difference. Leovold was like, let's make a wheel, everyone's got no cards, and no one gets to penny magic.
Right.
Urza actually ends the game. Because he's going to be like firing off 7 copies of Mind's Desire every turn.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, I mean, I do think the criticisms of this being Commander Masters or Commander Horizons are fairly valid. Except I don't think it's extraordinary for Commander. I think this is $4. This is like Battle Bond for Commander, like Battle Bond or Conspiracy for Commander. Like those were great sets to draft. I actually, in many ways, feel they are superior to Modern Horizons when I look at them as a product. They were $4 a pop. They had great reprints in them. They were a much better drafting environment. They were a drafting environment that I could enjoy because it's $4 a pack instead of 8. And they had a ton of great things for Commander in them as well. Here we have great things for Commander. Yawgmoth is certainly one that I'm interested in. The swords,
like the first
as you mentioned.
Obviously, the first slivers were invigorating slivers as well.
Oh yeah.
I thought there was more multicolored legends than that. Oh, Sisay is a multicolored legend.
Sisay is 5-color.
I think that's really exciting that we've got another 5-color commander that's not 5-color. Like, it's weird how we've got 2 white ones like that now, haven't we? We've got Sisay and that the ally one. I obviously, Spoiler Season isn't quite over as we've... Oh, this is a disclaimer, I don't know if we've mentioned this yet. Spoiler Season's not over.
We have a couple days left.
We're still in the middle of Spoiler Season.
Yep.
So I'm really hoping we'll see a Gerard, like a good Gerard, because Gerard is this like gene soldier that Urza like grew to be the most powerful, like, his progeny, and the card that he got is just terrible, right?
Yeah.
The original Gerard card is terrible. So I really hope we get a Gerard, but I don't know if that's out of the crunch yet.
That's true for a lot of cards. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got Urza and
I'd like Mishra.
So
I'd like Mishra. I'd like Baron Sengir as great commanders. That's what I want. I want a great.
Or any other members of the Weatherlight crew. Like, what's the Minotaur called? Tornos, whatever his name is.
Sure.
The Minotaur. I would love to see him. But back away from conjecture, another card that I think is going to be good in pretty much every single white commander deck in history is Winds of Abandon. And that card's probably going to be almost good enough as a 1-of or 2-of in Legacy and Modern decks as a removal spell. But it's basically the white Cyclonic Rift.
Right.
As in, it's Path to Exile, but you can overplay it for 6 and exile everyone's board except your own.
Fantastic, because as we know, in addition to Cyclonic Rift, what Commander needs is another Cyclonic Rift, especially in a deck with blue
it's fixed,
and
though.
white.
It's fixed.
You can run Cyclonic Rift with it. So you've got Cyclonic Rift, and you've got this now.
Or you could Vidalcan Orrery this out and then everyone really hates you.
Right.
White also got a Beast Within, which is actually quite good.
I was just going to mention Generous Gift. I love the art on that. That's so hilarious.
I'm excited to play with it in multiple formats. I think it's going to be great in Cube as well. So that's really cool. I like that. Color shifting some of this stuff is good.
I also got for my beloved, my Cassetto Snakes commander deck, I am absolutely getting a Hex Drinker. This is fantastic.
Yes.
Hex Drinker goes in my Cassetto Snakes. Great synergy with my commander, and I can't wait to level that thing up to get protection from everything.
That said, though, I do want to talk about Hex Drinker for a second.
Yes.
That is a waste of a mythic slot, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That is an absolute waste of a mythic slot. But, I mean, it depends on... this gets into the interpretation of what should the mythic be. If you look at mythic in terms of what they said originally mythic should be, then Hex Drinker really kind of is there. The idea of mythic is we're going to put bombs that aren't actually very good in constructed in this mythic slot, where they're mythic bombs in limited, and the premise is there's only a couple per box, so if you're opening up the majority of packs to build constructed decks, you're not getting these bad cards that are only good in limited. You're just going to get a couple, but it's a mythic if you open it in limited. But it turned out that people just want the idea that this is a mythic card in terms of what it is and does, and so it depends on your interpretation of what a mythic slot should be.
I mean, I might stand corrected a little bit there, because I think actually recently they've done very well at moving away some of the chase rares away from mythic slots.
Yeah.
Which means that we don't get obscenely expensive cards outside of things like Teferis.
Right.
But even then, the latest Teferi's not a mythic, so I guess they're doing right there. So actually, yeah, perhaps having Hex Drinkers and Unbound Flourishings in the mythic slot is fine. I've only just realised that the Ranger Captain of Eos, a card that I'm quite excited for multiple formats, is also mythic.
Right.
And that does not feel mythic.
No.
It's a very cool rare. It's got it's very unique in its effects and stuff, but being a mythic's a bit mad, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it was up to me, there wouldn't be a mythic rarity at all. Rare would be the highest, but that's a whole other discussion.
So you hate Planeswalkers, mythics, and expensive packs. What? Do you want to go back to 2003, Brian? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, actually, I mean, like, I'd like to go back to getting rid of Planeswalkers, mythics, and expensive packs. So sue me. Go crucify me in the comments. I don't want packs to be expensive. I don't like mythic rares in terms of how they're often so expensive. And yeah, Planeswalkers. How's that War of the Spark treating you? Anyway.
But as a card we missed earlier, which I think again is good for multiple formats, possibly Modern and Legacy, and just any commander deck that can really cast it, is Archmage's Charm.
Archmage's Charm, yes.
It's an instant speed draw spell, and it can steal people's vials, it can steal people's Marit Lages, it can steal people's Mana Dorks, their Deathrite Shamans, and their Birds of Paradise, depending on where you're playing it. The card is great. It's triple blue, but like I think if you can play it on your mana base, you play it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is one that we might be able to work into either Modern or Legacy. Obviously, it could be a lot of fun in Commander. There's some good things to grab. So this is, I think, in some ways, an example of what I would have liked to have seen more in the set of it obviously is made, especially in that idea of grabbing a permanent with converted mana cost 1 or less, and you just gain control of it. That's fantastic, as you said, for something like a Marit Lage token or something like that. This is a really great card. It's definitely going to see some play. What is one reprint that didn't get reprinted I mean, we still have 2 days left, but let's assume that there's no pretend there's not going to be any more reprints. What is one reprint besides Force of Will, of course, that did not get reprinted that you would have liked to have seen reprinted?
Mine is so easy, Brian, and people are going to hate me for it. It's Wasteland. I really wanted Wasteland in Modern.
Wow.
I really did.
All right.
I just thought it made the format better. What about you?
Well, I mean, obviously...
don't say True Name Nemesis. That's
I'm not
disgusting.
actually... I don't want True Name Nemesis.
Good.
Obviously, like, I wanted Oubliette reprinted, but that was for Pauper. For Modern, something I wanted reprinted. I mean, I was very on the bandwagon of Force of Will. I don't know that I really would have wanted a reprint for anything that would have helped Merfolk. I don't want True Name Nemesis, and because I think that True Name Nemesis doesn't need other Merfolk, and it probably would have ended up in a deck that wasn't Merfolk in many ways. That could have been a better way of implementing that card. I think I would have liked a new Merfolk Lord that kind of brought Merfolk up to the level of Spirits. So if you look at Blue-White Spirits, that maybe there was a Merfolk, maybe in a color other than blue, to put Merfolk into Blue-Green, which we've got some Ixalan treats that were helping Merfolk there for a while, maybe into Blue-White, I don't know, but a new Merfolk Lord or some kind of Merfolk synergy card that was more reminiscent of some of the new abilities that we're seeing in Spirits could have been a lot of fun. And so I'm bummed that Merfolk weren't in this set at all. I guess we're waiting for Modern Horizons 2, if such a thing is going to exist.
I mean, one of the things that frustrates me is that they could have used some creature. Like, for example, they could have gave you a Merfolk on one of the cards that's already in the set. Like, I mean, Bizarre Trade Mage, maybe not. Like, turn him into a Merfolk Wizard. Like, or even, like, go really weird and make, like, Ranger Captain of Eos or something similar like that. Like not a human.
Yes.
Or the Oof could have been a Merfolk. A green Merfolk that, like, you know, froze artifacts and stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good point, that they could have made the Oof, but they weren't thinking, they didn't, and here we come to the final thing, which is that they didn't make this set with Modern in mind at all. And so I have a problem with the marketing in that. It wasn't made with Modern in mind, so they didn't think, let's make the Oof or the Opie a Merfolk. They thought, that's an old card. We're bringing this back based on an old card type that's fun. We're going back to our history. We're doing Time Spiral 2. And I think that this is a bad way for them to generate hype, is to essentially mislead the audience. If they had called it Time Spiral 2, they couldn't have charged $8 a pack for it. They should have said it's just a special set. It doesn't, they could have just said, from now on, special sets go into Modern. It's Time Spiral 2. Special sets go into Modern, but when they said this is these super powerful cards, it's the same thing that happened with those Commander precons, where they're telling the shop owners these are going to be costing more money, but it's so that it allowed us to jam-pack them full of reprints and other value, and then it ended up being the least valuable, least reprint-worthy Commander set. Stop running your mouth like that. You're going to No Man's Sky us, like stop it. Say what it is. If you want the product to be made for Modern, then make the product made for Modern. Don't say what you wish the product was just to sell packs. I don't know. It ends up with disappointment on what is a cool set. This is a cool set, but it's not what they said it's going to be, in my evaluation.
I'm going to respond to what you just said, basically. So yeah, I think I agree. I think I still think the set is good. I think it's better than people are giving it credit for. I think we've got a bit of a culture of moaning and whining and not being happy with things. I think iconic Masters, like Masters 25, then Iconic, we're used to these supplemental sets just sucking a little bit, especially the premium priced ones. Notice how no one was mad about Battle Bond or Conspiracy and actually loved them. There's a good point, right? But I do think you're correct that Wizards buy into hype culture too much, and No Man's Sky is a good example. You can't just talk big game and then release a premium product with no premium element. If there's no foils in these packs, or if there's only randomized foils, I'm shocked. I'm generally shocked and quite annoyed that they're daring to sell me packs that are that expensive. It's absurd.
It's my understanding that there's not, if I'm wrong, I apologize. I don't mean to put out misleading information.
No, you should be apologizing.
My understanding that there's not.
Wizards should be apologizing, Brian, not you.
Yeah. I hope I don't sound too bitter about the set. It's a great set. I think it should be $4 a pack. I think it should be a special set. I have no problem with it being printed into Modern, especially after seeing what's in the set. I think that this should have just been called Future Sight, or maybe they should have called it like they should have done a play on it, like Blind Past. Like they should have called it Blind Past, the sequel to Future Sight, and so it's like looking towards the past. I don't know. They should have made a clever name for it. It should have been the battle bond or conspiracy equivalent. And they say, nope, it's not going into standard, but it is going into modern. But calling it Modern Horizons and having that lead up, I think they damaged themselves. I think they damaged themselves with that.
They know that Modern sells, right? They know that Modern is like their most popular format after Commander. Yeah, like they know that Modern Masters packs are popular. They know the set is popular, or the format, sorry. So they've got their Commander product already. So they decided to rebrand their supplemental set this time around to be Modern focused. So it was 100% a marketing move, and I think that did misalign, should I say, the expectations of the audience and the consumer, and it's gonna perhaps sting them a little bit. And also, I think they've also got too used to selling packs at high expensive prices and us gobbling it up.
Right.
Don't forget that we all forget that. I forget that I made a video literally mocking the price of Ultimate Masters boxes, talking about how much you could buy for that, because it was so expensive because they just hiked the price of box toppers. But that controversy is gone. When we have perpetual spoiler season, where we have spoiler season, I forget the concerns and the controversies of the last 3 or 4 sets ago, because we're too busy talking about the next one, right?
And I think that this constant state of hype, it's like this set's gonna hit, and then in 2 weeks it's core set, and then in 2 weeks it's Commander. Notice we haven't heard about the Commander precons. They're strategically holding back on that because core set is always a bit of a meh. But that is coming out so freaking soon. And it's going to be about 2 weeks after Modern Horizons drops that we're going to be doing core set. And then they just revealed the box art.
And then if Commander flops, if Commander's weak, they'll just go, oh, here's some Kaldheim art. Boom. And
right.
Like,
and you called it. And then we're going to go to Kaldheim or wherever. Or maybe it's New Phyrexia if they're really, really just doing it. New Phyrexia again.
I think your comment about blind pass is interesting, from a bit of a meta perspective, because, like I said, we're blinded of what's happened previously, and we're not even looking to historically how annoyed we were about Ultimate Masters, because we are blinded by the hype and the vassal-tassel of currently what's going on. And I think I have as well. I think I've got Stockholm Syndrome a little bit with Wizards. I'm just expecting premium packs to be good. I'm like, oh, mythics just exist, right? But should they really exist? Should they be 1-mana green creatures that I'm not going to play anywhere?
Or the reverse, should Mythics be a card that you need 4 of in your constructed standard deck, and then it's going to rotate in 6 months? Should Mythics be that?
Yeah, I guess the balancing act is...
Should Mythics be our reprint of, wow, this card is $80 each in Modern, let's reprint it but put it at Mythic since it's so in demand? I don't know. I don't think that there should be. But that is another subject. That is another subject for today on Modern Horizons. I think that we are going to bid you all adieu. Vince, if people want more from you, where can they find you?
If you want to see Modern, Legacy, Commander, a little bit of Standard, gameplay, and mucking about and general tomfoolery, you can find me at youtube.com/Pleasant Kenobi, twitch.tv/Pleasant Kenobi, and I'm also very active on Twitter as well. Probably too active. I probably check it way too much during the day. That's twitter.com/Pleasant Kenobi. I'm Pleasant Kenobi everywhere.
Oh,
so make sure you follow me to not miss out on content.
Also, I didn't mention this earlier. I guess I couldn't, but congratulations are in order for you, sir, by the way. So congrats. Your big recent accomplishment, that you went the entire podcast without subtly plugging your YouTube channel. I mean, I never thought.
But I'm never subtle. Subtlety is not part of my.
I never thought that you'd be able to do it, and so I have an award for you here, sir, for most humble content creator.
Thank you, my friend. They do call me Kenobi, the great creator. So that is my. Where can they find you, Brian?
They're already there, so you can find me where you already are. But if you didn't know that I stream on Twitch, I do stream on Twitch under Tolarian Community College. I've been doing nearly daily streams. I don't have a fixed time, but go ahead and hit follow on Twitch, and hopefully you'll be notified. Pay attention on Twitter and Facebook. I've been having a lot of fun streaming. You can check me out on YouTube, of course, if you're listening on SoundCloud, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can listen to this on SoundCloud a few days after it's posted. Everyone, whether you are a planeswalker or runner, I hope to see you on the Modern Horizon.